I haven't played World of Warcraft in over a year. Why? Is it due to unhappiness with the retail product? Being mad about balance changes? The over-monetization of the housing item store? A feeling of disgust that high elves are back? No. Maybe. Yes? Nah. The fact is that burnout happens pretty naturally, especially when you've played a game on and off for 2 decades. Plenty of reasons exist. One I've felt and seen in my time playing games and writing about them is the cycle of buyer's remorse that can come with a highly anticipated release. The hype cycle can be vicious, and when you come to the end of a rainbow full of press releases, trailers, lore spoilers, and info dumps, sometimes you get that final product in hand and you feel nothing. I feel nothing. That's sort of where I am at right now with the game. The lore, the IP. I don't feel any one way about it. Midnight has come and I didn't feel one single itch to play it, despite the fact that it has a number of things I have been looking forward to for as long as I've played World of Warcraft. The return to my favorite Burning Crusade locations would have made me in 2010, 2015, or even 2020 lose my mind. I mean, more so than the recession, moving 20 hours away from home, and a global pandemic and lockdown already did. Housing should have excited me. And yet, my only time with it was the server crush test Blizzard held, where I spent 20 minutes making a very sad-looking bedroom, said, yeah, this is cool, then quietly put it away. In fact, I think that was the last time I booted up and played WoW of any kind. So, why the apathy? Maybe it's my age. I'm 40 now. I find myself very introspective lately, for better and for worse, and there's no greater sign of my mortality and the fragility of the human lifespan than logging into a single WoW tune and typing in /played, seeing the number of days I have on a single character, and reflecting on how I've spent my time. But I don't think that's it. Mostly because it turns into a slippery slope to begin quantifying leisure time into a net good or a net bad. If I do that, then the time spent that should really break my head and heart would be thinking about the number of hours I've spent at various jobs since I was 16, the days in a row where I have to talk to near strangers more than I have to my wife, and how much of that time even was spent alone in a car driving to and fro. What else? Is it nostalgia poisoning? Maybe? Maybe. Sometimes the pull for things to be as they used to, or to reflect on a past point in time as if it were the only time things were ever good, is too strong to ignore for any of us. Hell, that whole dichotomy is why WoW Classic even exists. Made all the more funny and hollow by the fact that Classic is now up to Mists of Pandaria, an expansion that is basically still in the retail game as it was released. And let's be real, nobody is thinking fondly and wistfully looking back at their time playing WoW and be like, oh yeah, Mists of Pandaria, that's where it was at. I mean, if you are, then I'm sorry, but you're wrong. Now, don't get me wrong, I like nostalgia. Most of my Spotify listening is music from my teen years. I buy Pokemon merch like there's no tomorrow. My front lawn is literally filled with Pokemon garden statues as we speak. I watch hours-long videos on YouTube that are just Nickelodeon commercials from mid to late 90s. Not even the shows, just the cartoons. I've learned a lot about how much I feel about Chia Pets lately. But nostalgia is a cage for the head and the heart. It tricks you into believing that the way things used to be were inherently better, or smarter, had more vision, were more pure. Nostalgia whispers a fake calm into your veins, making you feel both indignant towards the future and apathetic towards the present. Nostalgia is a comfortable bed sitting on top of quicksand. But in my case, I don't think I've sat down on that bed. Not yet. Nostalgia isn't the problem. So, what is? Let's talk about the various. My time with the game, the distinct periods of WoW as they have been, and where I quit for extended periods of time. I want to look at those eras, the zeitgeist of the day for each one, and how each of those blue periods kind of began and ended their course, with one sticking out very specifically as, my most nostalgic time of playing WoW. I'm going to look at these common threads, talk about some of the lore of the day, and figure out if it's a case of the heart no longer growing fonder, or if there's something else at work. How much is my nostalgia lying to me? I need to fix my heart, or die of nostalgia. This is Essence of Azeroth.
From origin to legend.
I need to become a symbol. I need to become Batman.
Become the hero.
Someone's gotta step up!
Build the legacy.
Let's get to work. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. I'm allergic to nuts.
Lego Batman, Legacy of the Dark Knight.
This is my favorite part.
Available May 22nd on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, and PC.
Rated E10 for ages 10 and up.
Promotional consideration for Kalimdor Public Radio is brought to you by the Azeroth Housing Alliance. If you ain't got the Hearthsteel, then we don't got the stunningly beautiful cherry blossom covered treehouse of your dreams. And no, there aren't any more breathtaking seaside housing plots. Put your crap shack next to the compost pile outside Orgrimmar and be happy with what you got. You jerk. Ugh.
Before we can talk about nostalgia, we need to define it as best as we can. The problem with a concept like nostalgia is that it's highly contextual, different for every person. Occasionally, there's overlap, shared experiences in which we observe, process, and feel something nostalgic. But at the end of the day, it's a word that encompasses a feeling, a moment, a memory, and more. It's ineffable. So if we're going to talk about it, then we need to make it effable. We need to F it. First, a definition before a definition. We're going to talk a lot about empathy today, which I use as the following. The ability to relate to and understand the feelings and situations of other people, places, things. Empathy is not some supernatural ability to know what people are thinking or anything else that has been co-opted in recent years by bad faith actors. Empathy is good. If you disagree, feel free to turn off this podcast. Now, listen to something real quick for me. Here. Do you recognize that piece of music? Maybe you did or you didn't. For me, I'm pretty sure I could name what this particular piece of music is from its single opening note. It's important to me. It's also nostalgic. If you're out of the loop, this is the opening song from the soundtrack to Kimi no Na wa, better known as Your Name in the West, a 2016 anime film by director Makoto Shinkai, a Japanese creator well known for creating works that search for meaning in nostalgia and what it means to yearn for a past that is no longer present. So, why is it nostalgic to me? The most basic answer is that I love Your Name. It is most definitely my favorite animated movie of all time, and on most days, it is my favorite movie. Period. I love the animation, the story, the setting, Its atmosphere of winceful longing created purely from color palette, from performance, and the impeccable soundtrack for the film done by the Japanese rock band RADWIMPS. It's a soundtrack that uses negative space to create an emotional feeling, one that triggers physical symptoms every time I hear it. My heart feels heavier, calmer. It's a sound I can feel in my chest, in my temples, like it's expanding down my arms, out of my fingers, like I'm reaching for the notes. It pulls at my emotions. If I haven't heard some of the tracks from the album in a long time, then they sometimes make my eyes water. I get very emotional about it, and, I'm prone to crying anyways. I am an easy crier, but in this case, yes, even the opening notes from a song in a language I don't fully understand can make me feel physical manifestations of the things going on within my mind. And maybe that's where we start with our first definition of nostalgia. Is it the physical sensation of emotion? Nostalgia uses all the senses of our body to create an aura in our flesh almost. A feeling of being able to smell, sense, taste, touch, and observe our past if we could just somehow make contact with it. I hear the opening notes of Dream Lantern and I experience multiple points of sensation. Suddenly, I'm back in an Alamo Drafthouse theater in 2017 on a Sunday afternoon with my wife, only the two of us, as we watch Your Name for the first time in theaters, and these notes play over a beautiful display of a night sky and a meteor falling over Tokyo. It makes me remember living in Austin, Texas, the hot days, so every day. The Mexican grackles chirping and screeching, the crowds of people. It makes me think about feeling younger again. 10 years have passed since this memory. I was 30. I was a different person in my life at a different time with different feelings. This one song opening makes me feel whimsy, the freedom of youth, what the Japanese call seishon. I feel sorrow because we always are in a state of mourning the places and people we've moved on from. I feel gratitude for having the experience at all. And most of all, I feel longing because I want that feeling to last, and it simply cannot, because we constantly live in the present. Not the future, not the day before. This moment ends as quickly as it came, and it will never return. And I got all of that from 16 bars of guitar and some time travel-esque sound effects. Hence, the problem with naming nostalgia. It can get away from us like a dog on a leash breaking away to chase a rabbit. We keep trying to catch up to it, but we are at the whims and mercies of a runaway beast. But you may be listening to all that and chalk it up to emotional twee nonsense, and I get it. I am a very empathetic person. I feel a lot of things, especially now that I'm 40. I do cry quite a bit. And there's plenty of people who lack the ability to really empathize with empathy. One could argue it's why the American political landscape is what it is. That doesn't mean that someone like a relative of mine who has basically admitted to me in such words they don't feel empathy for others doesn't also feel nostalgia. Everybody does, in one way or another. I think this ability to process and feel nostalgia comes with how emotionally vulnerable you allow yourself to be or not be. You have to be open to the idea of it. Let it in. But at the same time, nostalgia can sometimes just bust down that door and force us to feel things that we didn't expect or want. I see a 1996 Ford Probe GT and my brain immediately conjures up memories of being 18, wrecking my first car, and the pain and sadness that came along with that moment. I can smell fried chicken and think about my grandmother's cooking on Sundays after church growing up, and how I will never taste her food again. Or sometimes nostalgia is just putting us in a place and time. For instance, the soundtrack to the 2013 game Life is Strange is heavily nostalgic for me, and not just because I loved that game. The vibes, visuals, and sounds of Life is Strange triggers feelings in me. It's a game about youth growing up, making mistakes. And I've never been to the Pacific Northwest, but I see the visuals from that game, and it triggers within me my own feelings of ennui, about my own upbringing, growing up in Appalachia, and comes along with positive and negative emotions that I don't always choose to feel when I hear those songs or when I see the visual presentation of that game. And that's honestly the first thing I feel when it comes to World of Warcraft and nostalgia. Through its varied eras, I often feel the lingering ghost of where I was literally at when that content was new. I walk my Shadow Priest out of Borean Tundra through Northrend, and suddenly I can smell, sense, and feel my college apartment at Ohio University in the late 2000s. I remember the distinct feeling of playing WoW on a 70-inch TV in our living room because I used it as the TV as a monitor. I remember the sounds of Athens, Ohio outside in the distance. It immediately takes me back, and a lot of that is tied to those memories of playing World of Warcraft. It makes me remember the feeling of new discovery I had going into those dungeons and raids and those NPCs for the first time. I don't remember a single person from my old raiding guild, but I do remember the first time I walked into Naxxramas with them. The noise, the frantic energy of a low-level guild stumbling our way through content we probably weren't geared for yet. Those people are still with me, even if I can't remember them. Maybe that's part of nostalgia too. We forget the names of people, places, events, but we don't let go of how we felt. Like our nervous system made a save state of that moment in time. So I propose a proper definition for nostalgia. It is the memory of the senses, the physical manifestation of our experiences for better and for worse, the fidget spinner of the mind. Because once we start down the rabbit hole of nostalgia feelings, we have to be very intentional about stopping it, of getting out of the loop. It happened for just a few minutes ago as I extolled about your name. I could have kept going for another hour, but you're not here for an anime podcast, and I would have gotten more and more granular. But we don't have time for that, because now that we've given a name and face to this type of nostalgia, I want to apply it to World of Warcraft and the period of playing that really held on to me the most, and why I stopped playing when I did. Let's go back to 2007. Hey, who likes a recession? No? Well, too bad.
What they did to your family, you're lucky to make it out alive.
Streaming on Peacock.
These men are going to come after me. Taking them out is my only chance.
Put a bullet in her head.
From the co-creator of Ozark.
Looks like a family was running drugs.
Execution-style killing, it's rare for the Keys. Any leads on who they might have been running for?
The cartel killed my family. I'm gonna kill them. All of them.
MIA. Streaming now. Only on Peacock.
The beginning of the Obama administration was a time of change and worry. Sure, there was hope, if you believe the campaign promises. But a global recession, thanks to the housing market, made a lot of things that once felt certain instead feel like cracking ice beneath so many feet. For me, I had been having a bad time. I had just fallen out and failed out of nursing school. One of my closest friends stopped talking to me after I confessed my feelings to her, and I was stuck in a job at the local hospital moving dead bodies. I wasn't doing great. And then I moved to Athens, Ohio, and started at Ohio University, having spent my first 2 years of college at the local community school because it was 10 minutes away from my house. My dad was an OU grad, so it made sense. It was far enough away to feel like I was breaking out on my own, but close enough that I had a safety net. More than a lot of people had. And high-speed internet. Oh, the internet. We're gonna ignore the part where I actually got sent a DMCA cease and desist for pirating a full copy of Morrowind, but past that, having high-speed internet for the first time, there's no greater feeling. No greater high, no drug that could be any better than going from dial-up to broadband. And it's hard to explain to younger folks today what it felt like when broadband and high-speed internet suddenly became ubiquitous. They've never used a dial-up modem before. Hell, for a lot of actual kids these days, they've always just had the internet floating around them. Yes, this is my most boomer take, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to channel my inner old man here. I promise, I have a point. My family got a 32K dial-up internet connection in 1997. In 2005, I downloaded a demo of World of Warcraft. It took 3 full nights of leaving the internet connection on to download the entire thing. Keep in mind, we also had a spare phone connection because when you use dial-up, kids, it took up another phone line. And I remember exactly where I was when I hit play. Sitting at the family computer in a side hallway at an old desk next to the kitchen, unsure of what to do in this big game that made so many promises, I started a Tauren hunter, prominently named Mutar, and kind of just walked around. I mean, look, it didn't run great. I had a video card, but not a good one. It may have actually been a Voodoo 2. And my internet connection was not too far removed from a tin can attached with some string. So, when I started moving into my own apartment in 2007, my brain immediately came back to World of Warcraft. I could finally try it again and experience it how it was supposed to be. Maybe it would work better then. The Burning Crusade had been out, and I would quickly push my Draenei Priest through the vanilla content in order to catch up and see what all the fuss was about. And that's when WoW really hooked me. Getting a guild, being max level, grinding out into Grond for Shadowweave cloth materials. I died a lot, but it's what got me in the door for my first raid of Karazhan. And I still remember that night extremely vividly. Alone on a Friday night in my first solo apartment, I had a Donato's pizza on the floor next to me, and my crappy Radio Shack pin microphone was crackling as I was in Ventrilo with my guild, and they made jokes about the horse boss, and I was just kind of like looking around amazed because this was my first raid. This was the first big dungeon I was ever in. I was just like, wow, this feels different. And it was different. An argument can be made for the Burning Crusade being the greatest period of World of Warcraft. Just before it would explode in mainstream popularity, BC was hardcore but achievable. Attunements were aspirational, and I will hold firm that attunements are one of the greatest things that WoW has ever done as like a feature concept. The level grind was still real, and even getting through vanilla content and getting to 60 still took a lot of time and effort, but it was doable. If you wanted the real game, you had to work for it. And that's what made it iconic. And that's a moment in time we can't recreate. It's part of why I kind of hate WoW Classic and all of its iterations. I mean, in a bubble, it makes perfect sense. Let people play the era of WoW that defined the genre. Is retail too easy? Too boring? Here you go. Hop in the Blizzard time machine and go kill Felboars to your heart's content. The problem, as I've said before on the show, is that you can't really go back. It's a limit of nostalgia. And this is what I meant earlier by saying nostalgia will fool you, that it's a soft bed in quicksand. I could go back to Austin. My wife and I could find a way to move back there if we really wanted to. But it wouldn't be the same. Our friends from her graduate school wouldn't be there. We wouldn't be in our tiny apartment. Our responsibilities would be changed. Our tastes. And that's not even to speak of the fact that Austin itself is different. Places we frequented are closed. Demographics have changed. Elon Musk is there, much to my and everyone else's chagrin. But nostalgia whispers to me that I can have it, that I can go back. I can feel that again. And so does WoW Classic. And that isn't to say that I don't occasionally enjoy dipping my feet into those waters. The early days of the hardcore Classic servers were a lot of fun, but not because it was the game as I remembered it. It was something new, a different experience. I remember being super intentional and careful as I leveled, trying to create game plans and really fine-tune each play session. I avoided players when I had to, and I tried to combine my old knowledge of this game that I've spent literal days playing with as this new setting of telling me that one death and I'm done was emerging, and it felt new and fresh. I think that was the appropriate way to channel that nostalgia. But that wasn't classic WoW, and it wasn't my old feelings. It was something new. And that's not a bad thing, but for a lot of folks, they simply just want to hold on to those old memories, those old feelings, the way things used to be. A lot of the times anymore when we hear about nostalgia, it is talking about how things used to be better, how things used to work better. And that's contextual. It worked better for you. It worked better for certain people. But the thing we find as we look backwards through the lens of nostalgia, we have to be really careful for it to not soften that way we look back, because it really dulls the blunt edges of how things really were. Things weren't always great. Things weren't always good. We had to work for it. We had to make it better. Going backwards for the sake of going backwards isn't healthy. But why do we so dearly cling on to this nostalgia? Maybe part of it is the psychophysical rebellion of getting older. We all age, we all dislike aging to a certain degree. It's something that's been on my mind a lot since I turned 40. Have I missed out on having children? Is my career set in stone and over? Have I missed the best years of my life? But those worries temporarily melt when I'm reminded of the past, when nostalgia makes me feel that lightness in my chest, and when a good song or a familiar view like the Austin skyline makes my eyes tear up and I remember a place I long for but can never return to. We weren't ever supposed to return to old World of Warcraft. Games aren't meant to be played endlessly over and over, forever and ever. And this is where we arrive at one of the main reasons why I quit playing as I do, and quit playing right now. The apotheosis of nostalgia. The peak. When I'm getting nothing but this feedback loop and I'm not feeling anything more, it's just diminishing returns. Occasionally I'll try and channel this by running old content. I love going back and soloing raids, reading old dungeon text, seeing loot drops, but I also hit a wall where I realized I'm a man in my 40s, alone on a server in a raid from 2007, living in a memory. No matter how many times I go and run Sunwell or Gruul, it's not going to be different. It's not going to be fulfilling. It's living in a picture, a memory. Those memories trick us. Makes us think things could be different, could be better, or could have changed us. And forgive a 40-year-old man some wistful remembrances, but I'm going to give you a painful example from my own life. In 2006, my friend Barbie died. She was a childhood friend who rode on the same school bus as me every day in Southeast Ohio, Appalachia, from the time she was in kindergarten until I graduated in 2004. She was a year behind me. The sister of my sister's best friend, Barbie, felt like a little sister to me at times. We annoyed one another. We talked. We experienced similar things. We shared. You know, we got older. We got closer. And at a point, Barbie wasn't just a friend. She was kind of just this constant person in my life. I remember, you know, in high school being upset on days when she wasn't on the bus because she was just always there. And you know what? She went with me to prom my senior year of high school. I actually had 2 dates. It was her idea because I was a loser and she didn't want to go to her prom. So she initially was like, yeah, why don't you and I go? And then I think she felt weird about it. So she invited one of her friends, which led to the very awkward scenario of I was clearly on a date with one girl and not on a date with the other girl. It's a funny memory. And you know what? Then I graduated in 2004 and people drift. You lose contact. People become the versions of themselves that you remember in the photos we keep. Never growing, never changing, never getting worse. And then in 2006, I was sitting in an anthropology class and overheard someone mention that Barbie had died in a motorcycle accident. I got up and left. I was very upset. Someone who had been there for a time in my life was now fully gone, even if she hadn't been in my life for that past 2 years. We had talked here and there on the phone, emailed a couple of times, but that was it. And yet, small things triggered a nostalgia in me that sometimes felt like a trap. Messages she wrote in my senior year notebooks, our prom photos. You begin living in those memories because that's all you really have left of them. That feedback loop starts because the only version of them you have to hold on to is that one. You've kept going. That is the curse we all face as we age and as we outlive pets, friends, family members. They stop and we keep going, and sometimes that feels like a betrayal. I miss Barbie to this day. I think about her when I think about high school and growing up, my hometown, and when life felt simpler, sillier, bigger. Like an entire world was still in front of me, but I can't live with that particular ghost. She stopped growing, stopped being. I kept going. And in many ways, going back to old WoW like that turns into routine. That content will always be the same. I've changed. And it's nice for brief moments to experience those things again, but we can't live in them. And that's where I think I'm at with World of Warcraft at the moment. It's been 19 years since the first time I played WoW. Half my life, thousands of hours, countless other people all sharing that experience with me. But I'm not the same person I was 6, 10, 15, or 20 years ago. Tastes change, feelings change. I was just thinking yesterday about how, for a number of reasons, I've largely stopped playing mainstream video games. I don't remember the last big budget AAA title I bought. Elden Ring? Maybe it was Elden Ring. Maybe it was the Elden Ring expansion. I don't think anything else. I play what I play. Short, intense experiences and competitive games. Overwatch with my friend group because it's as much a watering hole as it is a game experience. WoW doesn't provide that same comfort for me that it used to. The cost isn't as sunk as it used to be. Also, it's hard to imagine paying a monthly fee to access a game anymore, especially as money gets tighter and everything in the world gets bad and more expensive. As of this podcast, gasoline is $5 a gallon, and that's a price that trickles down and affects an untold number of things, including what games I do and don't play. And I'm not alone in that. But there's another reason. I don't want to slip into the quicksand. I don't want to fall into nostalgia. I don't want to be complacent, and I don't want to be comfortably numb, enjoying the feeling of living in a nostalgia and not accepting new things. Not growing, not changing. I want to change. That's the biggest benefit of getting older, even if it's something I actively fear, and trust me, I do. The greatest gift we get with getting older is getting older. Seeing the world through new eyes, giving our experiences to others, living. My friend didn't get that chance. She never got married, never had kids, never had a career, never did stupid shit. Breaks my heart when I think about it too much, and it makes me feel stupid. I'm here wistfully feeling bad about nostalgia and not being able to play a video game I've played for 20 years when her life ended before it ever really got going. I'm an asshole. And maybe that's it. Maybe nostalgia is selfish. I think it is. That doesn't make it bad. We all do selfish things. It's a protection mechanism. It keeps our hearts safe. But maybe that's what nostalgia really is. A way to keep our big feelings, hearts, tragedies, and yearnings from swallowing us whole. It's exposure therapy. We allow ourselves to feel how we used to feel, if only for a moment, before our body lets go of it like the wind carrying a flower petal off on the breeze. It has to fly away. We have to let go. Holding on to it just hurts us. It hurts the flower. It can't be something else. We have to be something else. We have to keep growing. And that doesn't mean I can't and won't go back to World of Warcraft or live in my nostalgia. We all do. WoW is still a game I love. It's still a game that means a lot to me, and it's a game that I know way too much about, hence this podcast. But for now, it's simply not one I need when so many other parts of my life feel like they're teetering on a precarious edge. You know, I'll play Midnight eventually. I will probably even play it this year. I always find myself going back to World of Warcraft when I least expect it. On a late night, alone in my office, the computer monitor glowing in a familiar aura like it's always has. And that is when I will let my nostalgia in, if only for a moment. To feel and taste and hear and smell the memories of a version of me I've let go. Only for a moment. Until I'm ready to keep taking those steps forward into a version of me that comes next. Next time, on Essence of Azeroth, speaking of nostalgia, what do we think about the Warcraft movie? How has the 2016 film aged? Was it poorly maligned? Why did China love it so much? And what happens when I force my wife to watch it with me and then talk about it? We'll find out as soon as my pre-order for the 4K edition is delivered to me. Yeah, I bought the 4K edition. Until then, take care. Sorry, I don't have the Murloc MP3 that I used to put at the end here because I just got a new computer. So,